Darnell Wright, welcome back to Chicago. What's going on, everybody? My name is Philip Charles VanDerHeyden IV, aka Philly the Fourth. On this episode of Chicago Bears Breeze, we've got a jam-packed show, you guys. A lot of stuff to go over, and I'm going to start it off with the best news, and that is that Darnell Wright is going to be in Chicago for the foreseeable future. We got a huge contract extension, making him the highest paid tackle of all time, or I believe right tackle, highest paid right tackle in history, and unbelievable. And I'm just glad it got done. This is a fantastic deal for the Bears, and I'll tell you why. Some people might say, "Well, why does he have to be the highest paid? Why does he have to get all this money now?" This is a great deal because if you wait just one more season to do it, like you could have done, right? They could have let him play out this year and then paid him after this year. One more stud year by this guy, he's going to cost you even more. And for every, big right tackle deal that gets done, that number just goes up. Something that I've learned as I've grown older, in my fandom is that these deals tend to just go up, right? Like the people that are at the top of their position group, even if they're technically not even like the best right tackle in the game, if there's a couple more guys above them, the truth is that if you're in the conversation, you're going to become the highest paid at that position when you come up for your deal. So I believe this is a great move by Ryan Poles because Darnell Wright would have cost even more next offseason. I firmly believe that he's one of the best right tackles in the NFL. He was dominant last year. He was, I believe, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he protected the quarterback so well, and he was a monster in the run game. So, congratulations to Darnell Wright. Here's the specific terms. Turns out he had little reason to worry about a contract. That was it. The Bears and their standout right tackle agreed to a 4-year deal extension worth $116 million with $93 million guaranteed Tuesday, a source confirmed. The deal is the richest ever for a right tackle and represents the most guaranteed money for a tackle in league history. The move crosses a major item off of the Bears' offseason to-do list. Wright was entering the 4th year of his rookie contract. The team had picked up his 5th-year option for 2027 with a $19 million price tag. So if I'm not mistaken, this deal will go into effect after that 5th-year option. So, they've got a little bit of time before obviously that contract kicks in. It'll kick in 2028, I believe. And you love to see it, man. You reward the players that put in the work. Darnell Wright, since day one, has gotten here and put in the work. He has been one of the most consistent players on the team. That is, he's never gotten in trouble outside of, you don't hear about his name when he's not playing football. And that's exactly how you want it to be. Darnell Wright is the perfect example of how you want your player to produce and develop and conduct themselves, and you reward those players with big time deals. And now he's a very rich man. Congratulations, Darnell. You deserve it. Unfortunately, I don't have the same high opinion of this practice. It sounds like this practice was again won by the defense. And while I am encouraged that the defense is putting up a fight and making it hard on the offense, I'm just a little, you want to see you don't expect to hear the offense. This is what they're saying is that this is the worst practice that the offense has had yet. And technically, it's the 3rd straight day you could say that the defense has won the day. So with that in mind, obviously the offense needs to bounce back. And I believe that's going to happen. They said that I did read that Greg Braggs of CHGO thought that the energy on offense had been a little down. I wonder if how much of that had to do with Kobe Bryant, his injury. I know that he's a defender, but anytime someone on your team, ends up hurt and they're out for a significant amount of time, like he is, somewhat significant, 8 to 10 weeks, it does put a little something in your brain like, oh, if I go too hard, I might get injured. So I don't know if it's that. I don't know. We'll see, though, because there's too much talent, and Ben Johnson is just way too good of a coach to let that continue to happen. So we'll go over the different things that happened here though. I've got one thing right here. The Bears passing game continues to show promise heading into the season, and wide receiver Luther Burden III and tight end Colson Loveland continue their strong camp today, per Bear report. But overall, it was a rough showing for the offense. According to Dan Wiederer, gross. This looked like the sloppiest offensive showing of camp to date, easily. Wiederer notes that there was a number of struggles, including pre-snap penalties, misfired passes, drop balls, rickety screenplays, QB1's feet getting tangled out, coming out from center. On top of that, Caleb Williams was intercepted by Tyreek Stevenson. It appeared to be a miscommunication between Williams and tight end Colson Loveland. Greg Braggs added that the defense looks a step ahead and that the offense has looked more than the other practices. He noted it was timing and the energy seemed low, especially with live periods. The offense also fell short during the 2-minute drill, where quarterback Caleb Williams and Burden were unable to connect on a 4th down in the end zone. I've got a second clip here. I won't reread anything that we've already read. It was once again another rough day for the offense, according to CHGO Bears Greg Braggs Jr. Defense looks a step ahead today. Okay, we already read that. We know that. To the naked eye, practice 6 felt like the Bears' sloppiest offensive showing to date. Easily. A failed end-of-game situation to end things, the Athletics' Dan Wiederer wrote. We already read the next quote. The Bears' offense shined over the first 3 practices of camp, but this is now the 3rd lackluster showing in a row for the unit. We'll be hoping for a rebound during next practice on Wednesday. So, overall, obviously not what you want to hear, right? But that being said, I have no worries about the offense. Like, I know that, obviously, I know how Bears fans are going to be, and I know how the general public is. If you keep hearing this, people are going to worry. People are going to second guess things. If there's one thing that I feel absolutely certain about heading into the season, regardless of whether they struggle now or what, I feel that the Bears offense is easily going to be our best unit. And they're easily going to, I don't see any situation where they don't perform. Of course, they're going to have maybe some tough games, but overall, for the most part of the season, I expect the Bears offense to be excellent. So anything less than that would be a disappointment. I don't want to hold them to too high of a standard because, of course, bad games happen. Sometimes you get, you don't get aligned on some things and you might struggle a bit. But overall, the talent level is just so high on this offense that I feel like even when they're having an off day, it could be a good day to other observers because that's just how talented this team is. Burden has looked like a legitimate number 1 from all eyes. That's the feeling I'm getting, is that obviously they're not going to declare whether or not Burden or Rome who's the real number 1, but the vibe I'm getting is that Burden is the number 1. And then Colson Loveland, obviously he's getting a ton of press. He's kicking ass. You got Darnell Wright, obviously, out there who's doing a great job from what we hear. We haven't heard about him, which is usually a good thing. And so overall, I just don't worry about this unit. I worry about the defense a lot more. So the fact that they're putting up a fight and getting feisty and stuff like that, I love to hear that. Now, I will say there was definitely some positive stuff on Devin Bush today. To read some stuff I got here. With speedy safety Kobe Bryant out for 8 to 10 weeks, the Bears found a new source of speed from Devin Bush. Besides his pass coverage, Bush blitzed Caleb Williams into scrambling out of the pocket on the final drive and nearly got the sack. Williams threw it away, and the play helped set up the final pass to Burden, but Bush saw it as the kind of thing that he and the defense need to aid them in getting ready for someone else. The Athletics' Kevin Fishbane noted that Bush showed his physicality on the big hit to Burden and added that the veteran linebacker flew around the field on Tuesday. And a little bit more on the big hit. Apparently, Devin Bush put it on Luther Burden. And it was a 3-player collision with Bush being the main offender. And apparently it was definitely like it was a big enough hit where if you ask people who were in attendance, like, what do you think about the big hit? That's all they need to hear. They don't have to know names. They know what hit it was. So it was a significant hit. I will say, like, I wish that that wasn't happening to Luther Burden, right? Because you don't want to hurt our own guys. That's something you got to avoid. That's always the toughest thing. You want it to be a physical, tough, I'm going to kick your ass. No, I'm going to kick your ass practice. But you want to do that without people getting injured, right? So it's a fine line to walk because you don't want to discourage being physical, but you also don't want, you want them to play as hard as they can as well. So the coaches will manage that. It'll be fine. Burden's okay. He's a dog, thank God. He confirmed he was okay after practice in an interview. So overall, I'm also really excited to hear about Devin Bush. He's been kind of under, no one's really talked about him since we signed him. He's been kind of under the radar. And I think that's going to change when the season goes live because you're going to see this guy flying all over the field, making plays. When the NFL were releasing like highlights from last year, he had a 93-yard interception returned for a touchdown. That's incredibly hard to do for a linebacker to take it 93 yards to the house without somebody catching you from behind, a wide receiver or any of that. Like, that's impressive. That shows you what kind of speed this guy really has. And I'm excited because, the way they talk about him, the way he's flying around the field, it just reminds me a little bit of Urlacher. Not saying he's going to be the same player. Yeah, obviously, I don't think he has the size that Urlacher had, but just having a linebacker that can fly around the field and make plays would be exciting. Tremaine Edmonds was good at generating turnovers, but too often on a play-to-play basis was he out of position in run defense. So the hope is that Devin Bush is going to bring us some stability at that position. And moving forward, whether TJ Edwards sticks around or not, we don't know. But I would like to see, maybe DeMarco Jackson get a shot next to him. Obviously, you got Jack Sanborn there, the Riz Master. But overall, the defense, it was their day. The other thing I wanted to talk about today, to go back to the practice one more time. The Bears practiced in 13 personnel today. There was a heavy emphasis on it, and I think that's exciting. Heavy emphasis on the run game, 13 personnel. Tuesday's padded practice featured a heavy focus on the run game and 13 personnel, both of which will be key to Ben Johnson's offense being successful. Before practice, the defensive coordinator made it clear that there would be a heavy focus on 13 personnel, and Courtney Cronin noted it was clear the emphasis is going to be running out of 13. According to Bear Report, they went more run heavy today by design. The run game should be strong once again, working a lot of run concepts with 12 and 13 personnel. They also noted that Chicago was mixing in receivers when they went 13 personnel. So obviously, like, for those who don't know, 12 personnel, that's having two tight ends, in the game. 13 is having three. I think that's really exciting because the Bears have three tight ends that can now be credible threats in, Colson Loveland, Cole Kmet, and Sam Roosh, who's been impressing so far, in camp. If all three of those guys are great, and that the thing about Roosh that I was hearing is that he was a phenomenal blocker. So you've got three guys, because Cole Kmet and Colson Loveland also love to get dirty in the run game. You've got three guys that not only can, blow people up in blocking scenarios, but also are credible receiving threats. Sam was supposed to be not so much, but he looks good out there, according to people, that some of the reports yesterday. So it's going to be a phenomenal thing to watch this offense and all the different looks that they can give the defense, because you can go big like that, but then the next minute you can go, freaking 4 or 5 wide because you've got Roma Dunze, Luther Burden, Khalif Raymond, Xavier Thomas, and Jade Walker. Like, dude, the amount of flexibility and versatility that this Bears offense has is incredible. Even in the backfield, I've heard reports today that both Roshan Johnson and Savion Ahmed are making plays. Like, dude, that's great to hear. because again, you get injuries, and if a guy like DeAndre Swift or um, Kyle Monungai get hurt, then the fact that you're still going to want to carry it with two backs. You probably don't give all of the reps just for one of those guys if the other one's hurt. So I always liked Roschon Johnson, and I thought, I always wish that he would have got like a better shot. It just seems like he hasn't been able to do it, for whatever reason. He hasn't been able to earn himself any carries, but it'd be kind of crazy if, what is it, year 6, year 5, maybe? No, I'm exaggerating. I think it might be like year 4 or 5 for Roschon. If he could break out or at least contribute and have a role this late into his career, other than being a goal line back, which is what he was doing for Matt Eberflus for a little bit, that'd be awesome. Obviously, then you got Savion Ahmed there. That's going to be a preseason battle to watch. Roschon Johnson versus Savion Ahmed. You better believe they're going to be getting most of the carries at running back. And hey, that's fun for me. At least we know we got two backs that we can be excited to watch carry the ball for the Chicago Bears in preseason. Because otherwise, if you don't have great depth, those games can be very hard to get through, or not maybe very hard, but they induce sleep very well. They're boring at times, but Tyson Bagent apparently, did a good job with the twos today, from what I read. He did get picked off by Dio Odeyingbo, who is being rotated in at D tackle a little bit. Very interesting, because now it seems the Bears have committed to Austin Booker being the starting defensive end on one side, which is a little surprising to me. I thought that they would go with Dio on rundowns and then switch to Booker on pass downs. But that's a good thing to me, that they see Austin Booker as a guy that can hold that position down, down one, down, first down, second down, third down. They believe in him. I'm here for it, because we really need another. We don't need a star, although that'd be great, but we need an impactful player across from Montez Sweat at the other defensive end position. I'm hoping to God that that's Austin Booker. The potential is there, and he was coming on great last season. So now Dio, motivated Dio, let me add, if you're rotating him inside to D tackle, that's great. That's great. Like, if he can produce there, I'm here for it, because we couldn't get anything especially out of the nose tackle position. So whatever the Bears have to do with these defensive linemen to make an impact, I'm here for it. I wish that Shamar Turner was healthy, because I was really excited to see some of him. But we did have our first fight at training camp today, and it was started by Jordan Vandenberg, our rookie 6th-round pick. He body slammed a dude on one of our undrafted free agents. Where is it? Here we go. Defensive tackle Jordan Vandenberg slammed undrafted rookie offensive lineman Caden Barnett into the ground after a snap with the third team units. Hey, when the third team is getting so pissed off at each other in their team drills that they're getting, Jordan Vandenberg slamming a dude, no one got hurt, so I'm here for it. You're going to have those kind of scuffles at training camp. To me, that shows the passion, the want to do something. You just make sure that nobody gets hurt. I mean, the fact that Jordan Vandenberg was the guy who slammed him, that kind of made me chuckle a little, because Vandenberg was one of the most spectacular athletes that has ever been tested at defensive tackle at the combine. He ranked second, like the second most athletics. He had the second most impressive athletic score for a defensive tackle since 1987 or something. That's incredible. He lasted till the 6th round. So you just wonder, like, what's the deal with this guy? If you can coach him up on how to play a role and do well, his athleticism is off the charts. A guy like that has a crazy ceiling, but obviously there was something that wasn't connecting for him on a production level, or else he would have been higher in the draft, right? So let's just hope that he can figure it out in Chicago, that Dennis Allen and these guys can get something out of him because I thought he was a sleeper 6th-round pick for that kind of athletic score. It's not so often you draft the second most athletic defensive end or defensive tackle, in the last 30 years. So, we'll see what happens. Sorry, the last 40 years almost. So, yeah, crazy stuff. I think that might wrap up. Braxton Jones seems to have actually wrapped up he's taken the lead at left tackle. He earned all of the first team reps again today. You've got I'm tripping. You got Jedrick Willis Jr., who's taking the second team reps, Kieran Amagaje in the third team. That's how it seems to be playing out right now. And like I said before, I love to see it. There's also been a battle at long snapper between first-year pro Luke Elkin and an undrafted rookie, Bew Gardner. So they rotate long snappers on every field goal attempt. So good luck. Obviously none of us are going to be too interested in how that breaks out, but, best of luck to both gentlemen. I hope that, may the best man win. They're both young, so nailing down an offensive or a starting position as a long snapper now, as long as they keep honing their craft, that's a position you can hold for a long time and make a good living just snapping balls in the NFL. I mean, imagine that's to me, like those guys figured it out. They're not getting no CTE, but they're going to walk away from the game after 10, 15 years very wealthy. And they didn't have to, their job was pretty simple. Come in, snap the ball, don't screw it up. Bang. But overall, I think that covers everything. Yeah, Savion Ahmed continues to flash. Odeyingbo working inside. Left tackle, scuffle, heavy focus on the run game. Yeah, that about does it for everything else. And the last thing I wanted to address is Vita Vea. So there's been some rumors, obviously, that the Bears can use help at defensive tackle. I just spent time talking about a 6th-round pick and how I hope that he could make an impact. The Bears obviously are hoping that Gervon Dexter, who played great against the pass but bad against the run last year, and then Grady Jarrett can wind it back, and play better football than he played last year, which that's a tougher ask because he's older, right? Like Dexter 2 years ago played much better against the run than he played last year. So you're hoping he can just wind it back and just play a little better. But again, Grady Jarrett, asking him to play better when he's as old as he is, that's not always, that's not foolproof. That can definitely fail. So you want to have backup position, backup options. I hoped that Shamar Turner could be that. Obviously, I was hopeful for Jordan Vandenberg, even though he was a 6th-rounder because of his athleticism. It sounds like they're rotating Odeyingbo inside. Like that idea. We signed Neville Gallimore in the offseason, but he was also a poor run defender last year. So I didn't think that was, that was like we're filling the roster spot, but I didn't think it was very productive. I didn't think it was changing anyone's mind. So anyways, Vita Vea is rumored to be on the market. He requested a trade, and I seen somebody suggest Gervon Dexter, Cole Kmet, and a 6th-round pick. I'll tell you right now, if you can get Vita Vea for that package, you're pulling the trigger. Gervon Dexter's up for a deal after this year, and he's been so bad in the run game and inconsistent that you're probably not going to sign him to the deal that he wants. You're probably walking away from him after this year if you're the Bears. With all the contract, because they also got to bring back Roma Dunze, Caleb Williams. I think that obviously letting Gervon walk is definitely on the table, especially if you can get Vita Vea. Right now, that's the thing. If you're going to get Vita Vea, he would require a new deal as well. So I don't know what the Bears could do there, but obviously giving back Gervon and then giving back Cole Kmet would help the Bears be able to make that move and make that signing. Ryan Poles has shied away from doing too much restructuring. I believe the Bears can do a lot of that to free up cap space if they wanted to. Ryan Poles has really used it as a last resort, which has been smart. He hasn't been mortgaging the future. But in order to get a guy like Vita Vea, you might want to do some restructuring because that's the difference. That guy could be the difference. If Austin Booker steps up and starts sacking at a 10 sack pace, signing Vita Vea could be the one thing your defense needs to play at least like a top 15 unit. And if you can get the defense to play as a top 15 unit, the Bears are going to be a Super Bowl contender, my friends, because I promise you that the Bears offense, they're going to be a top 5 unit. I would bet my life on it. Screw it if I'm wrong, because I can't take it to see the Bears offense disappoint me. I'd rather be dead anyway. That'll do it for this episode of Chicago Bears Breeze. Let me know. Please leave a like on the video, my friends. What would you do for Vita Vea? Who are you willing to give up? Would you give up a higher pick if you had to? What if they wanted Dexter, Cole Kmet, and like a 4th rounder? Would you still do it? I think I would, if I'm being honest. But obviously, I'm going to start lower and work up. But let me know, my friends. Let me know also what you're most excited about so far through camp. I'd love to know. Are you worried about the offense, or are you more excited that the defense is making plays? Let me know in the comments below. My name is Philip Charles VanDerHeyden IV, a.k.a. Philly the Fourth. And as always, long live the Chicago Bears, but most importantly, long live you, Breeze Nation. Have a great one, everybody. Bear down, Chicago.